Welcome back. This is the 29th segment in our series of 63 segments called Because It's True, making the case for Christianity in bite-sized pieces. Now, before we proceed in our endeavor to make the case that substantiates the credibility of Christianity's claim that Jesus was resurrected from the dead, it is well worth our time to remind ourselves of some of the reasons why this is so important. First of all, if you take the crucifixion of Jesus and his subsequent bodily resurrection as one package, this package is the historical event in the Christian faith, and it validates the claims of Jesus that he is God incarnate, the Messiah. But then, if you look at all that was accomplished on the cross, it is clear through strong implication that without Jesus' death on the cross, there would be no Christianity. But that which is perhaps implicit on the cross is stated explicitly concerning the resurrection. And that is, as Paul writes in his first letter to the Corinthians, if Christ has not been raised, then our preaching to you is in vain and your faith is in vain. In other words, if the resurrection is not a reality, then there is no Christian faith. Now, beyond those very substantial, essential issues are some other important reasons for us to be grateful for the reality of the resurrection. For one thing, it tells us that the material world matters to God. We need to make sure that we don't have any misunderstanding. When the apostles talk about Jesus' resurrection, they're talking about a physical resurrection. He did not come back as a ghost or as a spirit. He came back as a solid physical body. He was a breakfast-eating, flesh and bone human being. Now, what that tells us is that God has great value in the physical that he created. Those who would teach that the physical is really unimportant, it's just the spiritual that we need to be concerned about, are refuted by the resurrection of Jesus. One thing to be really happy about is that Jesus' resurrection means that death is a defeated foe. Jesus not only defeated death for himself, but he also defeated death for all of the rest of us. Again, in Paul's letter to the Corinthians, he says that in Christ all shall be made alive. So his resurrection guarantees our resurrection. We have the resurrection of our bodies to look forward to. And those of us who are in a relationship, a saving, if you will, relationship with Jesus, according to Paul, when he writes to the Philippians, we have to look forward to the transformation of our bodies into the likeness of his glorious body. In resurrecting Jesus, God reminds us of his absolute sovereignty over life and death. Now, the crucifixion and the death of Jesus demonstrates how much he loves us. The resurrection reminds us of his sovereign power over my life and your death and my death. And when someone has sovereign power over your life and death, you want it to be someone who loves you enough to die for you.